Wednesday, May 26th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. We're back from Anime Boston, and we talk about two board games, Oshi and Tsuro.
Let's do this. So I woke up this morning, and the sun was coming in the windows, and I was feeling pretty awake, and it was, I heard stuff going on outside, and I was like, oh, what time is it? It's probably like 6 something, right? I'll get up and get ready, right? So I look at the iPhone. It says,
all right, it was either way earlier than you expected or way later.
It was 5:30, but it felt like 6:30. So I was like, spring ahead, fall back.
It's not that day.
It's not that. I'm like, what the fuck? And it was literally 5:30, but it felt like 6:30, which can only mean, I don't know. But I felt awake, and it was sort of fucked up.
Were you traveling at the speed of light?
Not this again. Yeah, it may have been. And it was weird because I went to bed kind of late after playing some awesome Left 4 Dead last night. So I don't know what was up with that.
Yeah, you did, because I came home and went straight to bed because I was wrecked from the con.
I went to bed at midnight-ish. So to only sleep 5.5 hours, to feel really awake.
Every now and then, though.
And for it to look like 6:30 outside.
Every now and then. It's weird. I'll have certain, I used to call them magic nights. Sometimes you stay up.
Magic night
Ray Earth. You stay up way late, or you're tired, or it's one of those nights where you really want to be well rested the next day, and you're not going to be. But for some reason, the night lasts forever. You fall asleep, and you kind of wake up, and you feel like you've slept for a whole night, and it's only been a half hour, and you go, and go back to bed.
Well, see, I think it may have had something to do with the fact, right, that the previous night, I guess I woke up on Monday at 9 something, which is for the past long time when I've, had a chance to sleep as much as I wanted, I've always woken up at 8 something, Well, so to wake up at 9 was weird, and I think, that was probably because we had just returned from the Anime Boston.
Not just that, but Anime Boston, we handled it differently from the way we've handled most conventions we've been to in recent memory.
Well, whenever we go without a whole bunch of people, it's always different.
It felt a lot more like PAX, partly because the convention center is almost very similar to the one in Seattle.
Oh, with the escalators, yeah.
With the middle column of escalators and the multi-levels and the
and the back
and
halls.
The separate building with the gaming in it.
Yeah, we should how they study there's different designers of stadiums and there's different designers of golf courses and designers of racetracks. There's probably designers of convention centers. We should find out who they are.
Their names were all on the wall by the front.
Oh, we got to look at that shit. They're probably just it's important, looking at roller coaster designers.
It was cool. It was this old marble, cast thing with everything carved into it, the names.
You sure it didn't just say Mayor of Boston and governor who provided the money?
I'm sure, because
rich man who gave
listed
money.
The architects and the designers and all these people, and at the bottom, carved into marble, it said HVAC and then the name of the company that did the HVAC.
Wow. I should get myself a freaking chisel.
For a second, I looked at the bottom and I was like, H. The fuck number is H.
Oh, you were looking for the Roman numerals.
And then I was like, oh.
I should get a chisel and learn how to chisel the way that, those things are done and get mad skilled at it. And then, chisel my name into things in a way that no one will recognize that it's out of place.
That is very similar to one of my favorite pranks of all time. This guy went into a mall, right? Mm-hmm. And it had, they had this restaurant, one of those mall restaurants. And the sign had, these bronze, an apple and a banana and some grapes, around the side. Mm-hmm. So we went in at night.
Oh, and he added a different fruit, yeah.
He took out the banana and he put, a watermelon. And then he kept changing the fruits, every month. And eventually someone noticed.
Oh.
I gotta find that and make it a thing of the day. It was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, we will talk about Anime Boston more tomorrow.
Welcome to Geeknights, not Zombocom.
No, not Zombocom.
All the people we met at Anime Boston. I know there were a ton of you. Tomorrow night is Wednesday night. We talk about anime and all that stuff, and we will have coverage of Anime Boston. We will also have uploaded the slides from Cover Your Bases, a.k.a. Anime You Should See, and Know Your Creators, because a lot of you were asking for them.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight is not Wednesday, it is Tuesday, and we're talking not about anime, but about video games.
That's all right, because there were lots of games going on at Anime Boston.
Yep.
So, if you're at Anime Boston, you're probably a gamer type. I hope so, anyway.
In fact, I was very proud of those punk kids that we played Magic with.
We didn't play Magic with them.
Well,
they were playing Magic. We played Blockus with them.
They wanted to play Magic. They had their Magic cards, and we tricked them into playing Blockus, and they proved that some punk kids who play Magic can also appreciate a real game.
I like how one of the kids had played it in math class, and he thought it was cool. You know that's nerds right there. There's no way.
Those kids were exactly like I was when I was 14.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
However,
I was like, wow, you are me when I was 14, kid.
However, I cannot...
Look into our future.
I cannot anymore tell what age anyone younger than me is.
I have no idea.
For all I know, they were anywhere
It's pretty much high school and middle school. That's all I can tell.
They were anywhere between 11 and 18 as far as I was concerned.
I can tell high school or middle school usually, and that's about it.
The thing that really strikes me is you ever go into like an elementary school, go into like the second grade room, and you look at those desks, and they're like the size of your shoes.
I know, right? Okay.
So there is actually
You ever sit on a school bus? I sat on one recently because they, like last year, they were using it to shuttle you from the parking lot to the Giant Stadium.
Scott, when we went, you, me, and Emily went to a Mets game, and we took a school bus from the parking lot.
That was actually, it was better than the Giant Stadium one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, when I used to be living in Pokeway, they shut down all the trains for some construction, so they would take me from Southeast up to Pokeway in a school bus. That was
not like a normal city bus.
No, it was like a school bus. So it would be like me and all these fancily dressed people who went into the city to like see a show, and they'd just be sitting on the bus like, "Oh, how quaint, fun."
All right.
So Starfy, one of the few games I don't know in a long time I've for some ungodly reason been excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I really like puzzle platforming games, and it seems like what Starfy is, right?
Starfy also has that kind of Kirby feel to it, just the graphic design, but a little bit of Mega Man.
Yeah, I mean, and I got, a Henry Hatsworth puzzling adventure, and that is, I assumed it was going to be a puzzle platformer, but a puzzle platformer it is not. It is a puzzler and a platformer that are barely attached at the hip. And are not merged.
Way back when we saw videos of Starfy, which is properly known as Den Setsu no Starfy, Taiketsu Daru Kaizo Dukan.
Even a cute game.
Kaizo Kudan.
Even a cute game in Japanese can be made to sound non-cute if you don't know what it means and you say it in a Yakuza voice.
I don't know, though, because the translation is Legendary Starfy Confrontation, Dire Pirate Squad.
Really?
Yes.
Maybe it's supposed to sound all Yakuza.
But watch the video if you don't know what we're talking about. This game looks pretty badass,
all right,
I guess.
So a game is coming out. That's a news?
We assumed. Everyone who saw these videos immediately assumed, yeah, that game's never going to be in the U.S. This is a game we're going to have to import.
Well, I didn't even know about it until they announced it was coming in the U.S.
Oh, well, I saw videos of it way back, and I just felt, we're never going to see this. It is actually coming out in the second week in June 7th.
Oh, it's actually really soon.
But the story here, what I find interesting, is that according to Kotaku, themselves, according to Hitoshi Yamagami, who is the producer of the game, said that the game was not going to come out in America, despite the fact that the developers really wanted it to. Like, they wanted it to be overseas. But Nintendo of America said it was, quote, too Japanese, unquote, and vetoed it. So I don't know what circumstance caused this game to come out in America anyway, but I'm excited.
Well, here's my guess. Number one, Nintendo of Japan overrules Nintendo of America because it's the boss versus, the worker, right? That's how it goes.
Nintendo of America seemed to have a lot more say a long time ago in the NES days.
Yeah, but
with all the censorship and
really,
whatnot.
Nintendo of America, first of all, remember they sort of closed out and they moved all the people, they shrunk the office and everything. And basically, all they really do is sell the stuff the Japanese people make in the U.S. They don't actually, and they also do the adaptations and those sorts of things, but they don't really make anything.
Well, remember Square versus Squaresoft?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, being in America, we don't, we think about Nintendo of America as if they do more, but really they don't make, do they? I'm pretty sure they don't make any games.
I'm not actually 100% sure, to be honest. But
anyway, so also I think what happened here, right, is number one, it's a case where the Japanese and the Americans are both right? Japanese Nintendo was right. If I had Reggie's job, I could have sold Starfy and made it a big hit. I guarantee it. But on the other hand, Nintendo of America is right. Starfy's probably not going to sell very well because they're not going to do what I would do, which is, be really risky and push it real hard to the right demographics in the right way.
Of course. Then again, look at what Nintendo did with the first Layton. They pushed that at like anime and gaming conventions as hard as they could.
Wrong choice.
All right, who do you push that at?
My mom.
So how do you market that to your mom?
Lots of money, put it on the daytime soaps.
So your mom watches daytime soaps?
No, but some other moms do.
So how do you get your mom, the mom who's going to like this, as opposed to daytime soap mom?
Involve longer burger baskets in some way.
What?
My mom collects these stupid baskets.
What are these baskets?
I'm not going to explain the longer burger basket. You can go look it up on Wikipedia.
Wait, like as in like a burger that's long?
No,
like
it's just
a hot
that's
dog?
just the name of the company.
But longer burger.
That's correct.
Is that just a hot dog?
Well, I think it's BERGER.
What if you made a hot dog? If you just rolled up a hamburger into the shape of a hot dog, cooked that, and put it on a hot dog bun?
My mom might think it was a funny joke if you called it a longer burger, but that's about it.
I would probably eat it.
I would also eat it.
So Starfy's coming out in the U.S. I'm going to tell you all to buy the game, but I don't know if it'll be good.
Yeah. Here's if you don't know if the game's gonna be good, right? It's a platformer, so you can probably don't need to know so much Japanese. You could probably pirate it and test it out, and not buy it at all, or
not longer burger. It's longa burger.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what they do here. Your mom is basically a member of a cult.
Yeah, something like that. They have a big factory shaped like a basket.
Yes,
The thing is, she only went to the basket factory like once or twice. She has a friend who's even more crazy that goes to the basket factory on like an annual pilgrimage.
These are just Beanie Babies.
Pretty much, yeah. Except she actually uses the baskets.
They set you up they're just like Tupperware.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God.
She uses she's got one the thing is, right? She uses the baskets. She actually uses them, which is good, right? But it's bad because like one basket could serve the purposes.
If I host a longer burger basket event, I will get 500 longer burger dollars.
Yeah.
And hostess dollars and free shipping and handling and bonus offers.
Uh-huh.
Good God, Scott.
But if you, I'm not collecting the baskets. What are you looking at me? She's got a different basket for each thing. So she has a specific basket for candy corn on Halloween and another specific basket like for
Scott. There are baskets that are the shapes
M&Ms.
of all pre-existing bowls, and you take the bowl you have and put it in the basket.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Don't ask me why.
The bowl already serves the purpose.
What are you asking me for? I agree with you. I'm not wasting my money on baskets.
I can design my own basket.
Yeah, you can also, if you go there, you can make your own basket.
I'm making my own basket right now. So what's your news?
All right, so my news is also a similar...
it's going to be It's going to be a berry basket.
It's a similar U.S. to Japan situation. A game that really no one ever expected to come out in the U.S. is probably coming out in the U.S., the Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really coming out in the U.S.?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I can't act surprised. This was mentioned at Anime Boston.
Yeah. So, I think this is important for two reasons. Number one, it shows that Capcom is still the company that knows what's up. They got on top of their game a while ago when they made Mega Man 9 and Bionic Commando Rearmed. And they are still on top. Capcom is still sitting in the number one game maker seat for the time being. And
I can add a paw print to my basket.
And
or
number
a police
two,
car,
or
a hockey player. There's a hockey player right there.
Yeah, number two, that's for carrying the pucks out onto the ice and off the ice after practice. And I'm pretty sure there was not a battle between Capcom, Japan, and if they have a separate U.S. branch over whether or not to bring it out here. But I wonder, right? This game will probably sell really well with the people who, care about this sort of thing, and perhaps also with some fighting game fans. But I mean, really? What kind of sales do they think this is going to have? People like Tatsunoko, what the fuck?
See, at the same time,
all those sorts of games that sold well in the U.S. were the Marvel versus Capcom, or the ones where people the ones where people knew the characters. When they tried to bring over SNK versus Capcom, only fighting game fanboys bought it.
Yes, but maybe they realize, maybe they're doing the same thing that superhero comics in the U.S. do. They know that they have a fairly large, insane fan base. I mean, the people who play SNK versus whatever and are good at it and play all those games, they will buy any of those games,
it's
especially because they're going to play in the tournaments. And you know that the convention circuit now is going to have this game be like the tournament.
Well, if you look at it, though, in the way I just described, you got to think, right? A Capcom versus SNK, I guess it did well enough, right? Sold to only the fighting game fanboys. This will sell to fighting game fanboys and anime fanboys.
It's
so
double play.
It's not going to be huge, but that's better than, right?
Maybe.
I don't know why, right? They don't just make Capcom versus SNK versus Marvel versus Tatsunoko. Why not?
They will eventually.
Why don't they just do it?
Here's the way to do it.
There should be 1,000,000. There should be 100 screens full of characters that no one can even figure it out. That's how it should be.
Why make one game and sell it once when you can break that into 10 games and sell it 10 times?
I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Here's what they should do. All right. My idea was the idea to make things the best possible way for the fans.
Wait, because I have an idea.
Are you ready
sell
for
it modularly?
I was about to tell you the way to make the most money.
I buy the X-Men
is
disc.
to sell a fighting game that only has the Street Fighter 2 characters, right? And then sell packs of 10 characters for like $5, and everyone has to download all the packs for $5 each.
Now you gotta rate it. You gotta rank the prices differently. For example, much like you could probably sell Guitar Hero.
It costs $10 to get the characters who are cheap.
Much like you could sell. Well, no, you make the
It
characters
costs
all,
$1 to get the losers no one likes.
You make them all equally powerful, or for one, you sell like dolly outfits for them too. But much like you could sell Guitar Hero Stairway Edition for like $50 on its own, and people would probably buy it. You sell Wolverine for $10 by himself. But then for another $1, you get the claws.
All right, yeah, I don't think I think that's taken a little bit too far, but yeah, the obvious way to make the most money is to sell just like Street Fighter 2 and then sell all these character packs. Actually, put it on the Street Fighter 4 engine. That would do it. Street Fighter 4 engine, all the characters, sell the characters in packs of 10. Done. Big money, Capcom wins.
But anyway, in things of the day, I've got a story from North America.
Oh, snaps.
So at Anime Boston, we attended the much-lauded Anime Hell.
We had known about the Anime Hell for quite some time, but never attended.
Not at least in fullness, but we went, and Anime Hell, things like that, in anime conventions are basically you go, and people show you weird stuff that you've probably never seen before, and of course, this is a lot more difficult now that YouTube makes everything available. And
yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of people who try to do events like this, but you show up and, those were all on College Humor last week. Great.
I fully expected that most of the things would not be things I had seen, but I was actually, even though I expected it, I was still surprised that I had not seen 90% of what I was shown.
But this animation, far above and beyond anything I've seen in recent memory, partly because it was late, partly because it was unexpectedly bizarre, and partly because the song has just been stuck in my head since Anime Boston.
Fuck this song.
What if it did? What if it didn't? What if the world was made of pudding? This is indescribable, and you all need to watch it and show it to other people. I warn you, the song will be stuck in your head. And two, I don't know, the body language, the posture, the way that father enters that child's room is more frightening than anything I've ever seen.
It's very...
it's aggressive. It's the most aggressive possible body posture.
It reminds me... The style of the dad reminds me a lot of the Ren and Stimpy guy. Krika Flusy. I don't even know how to say his name.
Just look at the way he's standing in the room. It's like he's about to murder and rape the child.
Yeah. What's your favorite part?
I don't know. What if he did? What if he didn't? And when the spider kills the kid.
No, I like it when the spider has like the knife to the kid's throat.
That's a good part, but not as good, I think, as when the spider just kills the kid.
With the poking in the face.
Just a stab in the eye.
That's a good part too. All right.
Just the song. I listened to it last night before I went to sleep.
So I've been I've been subscribing to video podcasts now with my iPhone. I started with the Onion News video, which is far superior to the Onion News radio. And then I moved on to the TED Talks, which is, so now I can just watch all of them without having to go to the website or anything. And actually, Old Jews Telling Jokes has one now also. So I'm gonna watch that and also video podcast.
Granted, that really it started petering out after the first several.
Well, everyone told all the good jokes right away, but there's a whole bunch I haven't seen yet. So I'm gonna see if there's any gems in there, and I will filter them out for you.
It has to beat the Dropkin Fart.
I don't know if you can beat the Dropkin Fart, but you can get close. Anyway, so there's a TED Talk I watched today, and I think what happened at TED, I think they just wanted to get so many speakers in that a lot of them are like doing shorter bits. So this guy did like a 3 or 4 minute bit, and it didn't directly have anything to do with gaming whatsoever. Well, neither did Rim's thing of the day, but I think this indirectly applies to things gaming related, at least things the way I think about them, and it's a bit of a stretch, but whatever. So in this video, this guy explains how they took these kids and they gave them, they're like 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds, whatever, and they gave them a marshmallow, but they told them, you're going to wait here with this marshmallow for 15 minutes, and we're going to leave. And if we come back in 15 minutes and the marshmallow is still there, we will give you another marshmallow, and then you will have 2 marshmallows, right? And he explained how, quite shockingly, right, 2 out of 3 kids ate the marshmallow.
Is it really that shocking?
No.
It's a 4-year-old.
The shocking part comes next.
It's not even a 5-year-old.
The shocking part comes next.
It's not even at the point of the 5-year-old
All
deathmatch.
right. And 1/3 of the kids sort of resisted the marshmallow and then got 2 marshmallows, right? The shocking part is that they came back years later and found those same kids. Because when you do a study on kids, you write all their names down and then you can go find them later. So they found them later, and they found out that 100%, that's the shocking number, of the kids who resisted the marshmallow were successful by the general definition, good grades in school, etc., and not 100%, but a large percentage of the 2/3 that did eat the marshmallow were not as successful by that general standard of good grades in school, money, jobs, etc., etc.
The guy basically sums it up in the video as people who have the ability to delay gratification for a greater reward later will succeed almost universally.
Yes, and the way this relates to gaming, in my eyes, I might be stretching it, but whatever.
Wait, because I'm curious where you're going to go with this, because there's the...
I guess what road I'm going down.
Well, there are 2 roads to go down. There's the prescriptive, you can either go down the road that, you can use this principle to make better games. Or
that's a good, I didn't think of that one.
I know, that's the one I figured that you didn't think of. But the one you're probably thinking of is that you can use games or the popularity of certain games to determine whether or not people are going to be successful.
Well, that was one thing I was thinking.
The marshmallow game worked pretty well, and World of Warcraft so far works pretty well.
And you've hit exactly where I was headed, right? Perhaps the reason that people like us do not like the World of Warcraft is because World of Warcraft is a game of instant and constant gratification. It's basically a game that keeps putting marshmallows in front of you, and you keep eating them, and you keep getting more. So people who are the type that will just eat the marshmallow, the unsuccessful types, will play World of Warcraft and just eat all these marshmallows and have a grand old time. Whereas we prefer games that most people hate. Hard games, games that suck.
Using the
games,
royal we.
Yes, games that have a lot of, strategeries and such, and are only rewarding if you actually win and suffer a great deal to get to the end. And those are the games that we like, being successful marshmallow resistors.
I would not say that German board games are only fun if you win.
I would not say that either.
But you just did.
Perhaps. But did I say the word German board games? No, I said hard games. There are easy German board games.
Plus, there are even games that we don't like.
There are many games we don't like.
I respect Age of Steam. That is a good game.
I don't like Go, for example.
I don't enjoy playing Age of Steam.
Yes, I said it was a stretch, and I am obviously generalizing, and thus introducing lots of falsities on the fringes and the extreme cases and the not so extreme cases.
However, I think that...
But I make a point nonetheless.
I do think that use it as a player in a game who wants to win, this principle is very important, because a lot of games unintentionally...
Oh, you're thinking of it that way.
That's the third way. Games either intentionally or not.
Where's the fourth way?
The fourth way is the moon game.
Right.
But intentionally or not, a lot of games have mechanics where you can get an immediate reward now, like in Oshi, we're going to talk about in a little bit. I can push your one off right now, instant gratification. Or I can not push him off, leave him threatened, and use that as leverage to go after your 2 and 3 pieces.
Yep. So,
But in terms of, and also you could, what about mechanism design? Make games that encourage implicitly the holding off and get kids to play them to teach them this principle if they don't already have it.
That's a good one.
Because the very fascinating thing about this video is that they went at 4-year-olds. I wonder what the factor is that will cause a child to be able to do this or not.
I am very interested in that as well.
Is it genetic?
He said that they were teaching kids to resist gratification in South Korea. So I wonder exactly how they're doing that teaching.
Because the interesting thing is that going to work? Or
He said they made like a book, like a marshmallow book.
Or is that just a Band-Aid over a deeper behavioral thing?
I also it was only 4 minutes, so he did not have time to tell us more information that we want to know.
The example I would use is that someone who is born autistic cannot be not autistic anymore, but you can use, if they have like very severe autism, you can use behavioral training to give them a better chance of integrating into society.
Yep.
It doesn't actually make the autism better. It just makes the appearance and the interaction better. It makes it, as a result, easier on the person. And while the net benefit is definitely there, it may not be as much of a benefit as some people think who don't study it more thoroughly. I think with this, it could be the same thing. I mean, maybe there is a don't eat the marshmallow gene.
Maybe. Here's my final angle on this, right? If you want to make a video game that sells a fuck ton and everyone loves, basically the game should just keep giving you marshmallows the whole way through. That way those 2/3 of people who are marshmallow eaters will love it. And the game should also give you twice as many marshmallows if you don't eat the marshmallows along the way. So the 1/3, and then everyone will love the game. It'll be psychologically fulfilling to all.
If you could add that, if you could somehow add greater reward for delayed gratification to World of Warcraft, that might be bad.
Yeah,
that might be really bad.
Hey, if you don't grind and you don't, it's like don't pick up it's like you get some loot. If you don't pick it up and keep not picking it up and keep not doing what,
then
not leveling up,
you just get all the perks.
Then eventually you'll get even better than what you would have gotten.
No, because you know what'll happen? What'll happen with World of Warcraft players? They will grind one character all the way, and then they'll have another account, and they'll have that other character not grind, and they'll do them both at the same time. Effectively, still grinding.
Perhaps.
As someone who played the realm a lot back in the day, I would have done something like that.
Yeah, but you see the point that...
But I think the more interesting tack is to look at this concept and try to make games that do. I mean, the carrot stick model is pretty, solid. World of Warcraft has perfected this.
Instead of carrots and sticks, we should move to marshmallows.
No,
marshmallow management.
Maybe there are models of carrot stick that we haven't explored yet, or ratios we haven't explored yet, that might, in the end, make more rewarding games.
Perhaps. There are many also areas in which I could explore this marshmallow idea outside of the gaming realm, but it's Tuesday, so that will be held off.
I do note, Scott, that if we play Advance Wars, you have no capacity to not immediately eat the marshmallow.
That is true, but there are other games where I will not eat the marshmallow ever. In fact, it will get to the end of the game, I'll get a pile of marshmallows and still not eat any.
Of course, then there are games like Oshi where you'll basically choke yourself on marshmallows.
It depends. It's totally game dependent, so who knows?
At Anime Boston.
Yet I'm successful, so whatever.
That's debatable.
Well, by his definitions of, good grades, jobs, etc. in the
jobs,
university.
yes. Good grades, man.
Yeah.
But grades didn't really matter. So
no, they didn't.
Maybe that was a delayed gratification.
Maybe I'm the girl who ate the inside of the marshmallow and is going to be successful but should not work at the bank.
Oh my god, that girl was
she was like convulsing like an addict.
She reminded me of Shallow Worms' crack pipe.
All right.
At Anime Boston, we're friends with like all the people who run Kineticon, and they had a booth set up, and board games were for sale at Anime Boston. And it just so happened that 2 games that we had known about, did not own, had not played, didn't know anything about other than that they were made by WizKids.
I knew about one of the games.
Which is no more.
Because I had played it at basically the story begins when I went to the NYC Nerd Gaming Night with Alex, right? And some coworker, Brian I think his name was, and whatever. We played a game of Vinci, but then we also played a game of Tsuro, which was a game I had seen many times in stores, right, on shelves, but I never played it, but I recognized it. Like, I've seen that game around all over the place. It was made by WizKids, the people who made Mage Knight and HeroClix and et cetera, et cetera.
They're gone.
And the only successful thing I think they had was the HeroClix. I think everything else was a bust, and, they got shut down by Top.
We actually
they were a division of Tops, and Tops closed them out.
We talked at length at Anime Boston with some other gamer people and the head of Anime Kineticon about why WizKids went under and how they could have been like one of the biggest game
They
companies.
should have just stuck with the hero clicks only, and they should have made, if all of their clicks games worked together properly, they probably would have done all right.
But instead, we got things like Mech Mage Knight.
Yeah, and
that game
you know,
was bad.
They had think about this. Topps closed WizKids, a subdivision of WizKids even, right? Like even lower on the totem pole, was doing all the classic BattleTech. So I'm pretty sure that's all dead now too. So anyway.
But they had both these games, so we were bored hanging out. So we asked Matt to teach us how to play Oshi, and he basically pointed at it and said, "Read the book." So we sit down and read the book, and it takes like 2 seconds to learn how to play Oshi.
Yeah, the rule book is a piece of cardboard. That's it.
Yep, and then we bought Oshi and Tsuro right then and there.
Right, because I had learned at at that game night that I played Tsuro and discovered that it was an awesome game for 2 to 8 players that worked great with 2 to 8 players. Was very easy to learn, easy to play, but also very good. And I played it a few times and had a lot of fun.
Has a dragon in it too.
Has a dragon in it, and but they said it was out of print, so. Well, I went to Anime Boston, and we saw it in the dealer's room there at the Kineticon table. They had like 8 copies, and I knew it was out of print, and I had played it and liked it, so how could I not buy it?
Yeah. Lately, I have more and more of this thing for getting out-of-print games, even if they're not good, just because they're out of print.
I know, right?
It's kind of a collector
We got
mentality,
a
but at the
copy of
same
Dune,
time...
though. Our copy of Dune's real good.
Oh, my God.
I got it used on eBay.
Yeah. I want to get a copy of the expansion.
There's an expansion
There
for
are
the Dune
several
game?
expansions.
Oh, shit.
One has burning wheel kind of combat.
Really?
Yeah, when leaders fight, like it's intense. It's cool.
I actually like that better than the straight up win with the reveals.
Yeah,
if you could actually use the combat.
reveals are good though. So it's good game theory stuff. But
it is.
Anyway,
it is.
let's talk about Tsuro first because I have less to say about it, even though it's a very good game.
Okay, the way Tsuro works, right, is everyone has a dude, right?
It is the game of the path.
Yes, everyone has a dude, and you put your dude on the edge of the board somewhere, and you can put him pretty much anywhere you want. That isn't taken already, and then. On your turn, you have a hand of 3 tiles, and you take a tile and put it in front of you, right? And every tile is a square, and every tile has 2 connections on each side. So there is no arrangement of tiles that will not fit. Right? Every edge of the board has 2 spots, and every, tile has 2 spots on each side. So you can always, every tile fits in every spot. It's not like Carcassonne where you're going like, doesn't fit there, doesn't fit. It always fits. Right. Your guy starts in the edge of the board, which means you can never make a loop, because if you made a loop, you would go right back where you came from, and that's not possible, right? So it's impossible to make a loop. And you just keep playing tiles. And on your turn, all you do is put a tile in front of your guy and then slide your guy down the path until he reaches another edge, until he can't go anymore. And then on your next turn, you put another tile in front of you and you keep moving.
Now, the game's really simple. It's pretty much whoever's on the board last wins.
Yep. Now, think about what this means, right? Number one, the game really is, you could say whoever's on the board last wins, but it's also... whoever plays the most tiles wins, right? I mean, every turn you have to play a tile. So whoever plays the most tiles is on the board the longest, right? Also, if 2 players, right, are on the edge of the same square, one of them is going to go before the other one, which means you get to control the other person's movements. You really don't want to end up right in front of someone if it's, their turn.
But if you cause the death of another player, they go off the board, then you get a little bit of a boon. You get to pick like some of their tiles.
Yep, like, in the course of playing all these tiles, there's going to be a lot of paths that are created that are unused. Some of those paths can be used on purpose to get your guy over to like an unused area of the board.
However, most of them are dead.
Yes, most of them are dead, but occasionally you can go across the already existing tiles and take a big long roundabout route, because really the goal is to get your guy into a position where there's lots of empty spaces in front of him. It's sort of like get to the unpaved road so I can pave it. If you're stuck in an area that doesn't have a lot of paved roads in it, unpaved spots, you're pretty much gonna die no matter what tiles are in your hand, because you got nowhere to go. You have to keep paving. So getting your guy in a good position is just as important as, putting the right tiles in front of you.
But the really cool thing about the game is that each piece is either unique or nearly so. Like the pieces are all completely crazy.
Yep, some of them are better though, because they give you more options.
Yeah, well, you have this sort of weak drafting element where you'll have 3 in your hand and you play 1, draw 1, so you always have a choice of 3.
Yep.
Except toward the end of the game when you're running out of tiles, but then the only way to switch up tiles is to kill someone else.
Yeah, eventually, when the tiles run out, everyone stops drawing tiles and just has to use what they got. And by then, everyone's dying all over the place anyway, so it's not a big deal. You know.
There's not much more else to say about the game except that it scales really well. And if you want a game to get other people into gaming or a good social game to play like at home, like bring all your friends over and just play like 10 games of it in a row for like 15 minutes.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't take long to play. It works well with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 players. It's really fun with 8 players because there's stiff competition for territory right away. It gets crazy right off the bat. And it's easy to learn, and it's also a good game, strategically speaking, even though there's also some randomness in, I just got shit tiles, I got nothing to do, oh well. But it's not really a problem because you're going to play again in 2 seconds anyway. So,
yep.
Whatever.
It's also a great game to just like bring to a con and whip out.
It's out of print, but it's not too difficult to find at the moment. But if you wait too long, it probably will become more difficult to find. So the game is Tsuro, Tsuro, from WizKids, who are out of business, and it comes in a nice little box.
Now, the second game that is much more interesting, Oshi, the Game of Influence.
OSHI. These games both have Asian themes to them. One is sort of like an Asian temple, house, castle theme, and the other one sort of has a dragon theme.
But
I just thought that was interesting.
This is a really simple, symmetric, perfect information 2-player game.
Like chess. You see, everyone puts the pieces on the board and moves them around.
Basically, you'll have all these pieces on the board. Some are 1 high, some are 2 high, some are 3 high. They're all like pagodas. And
all right, pagoda, that's the word.
If you, a 1 high piece can move 1 space in any orthogonal direction and can push up to 1 piece.
Of yours or the enemy's?
Yes, in 1 orthogonal direction.
Mm-hmm.
A 2 piece can move up to 2 and can push up to 2 pieces, up to 2 spaces. A 3 can push or move up to 3 spaces. Now, the interesting thing here is that as a result, a 3 piece is strong on the offensive because it can push up to 3 pieces no matter what. But being a 3 piece is not a defense because you can be pushed just as far as a 1 piece.
Yep, a 1 piece can push a 3 piece 1 space. A 3 piece can push 3 1 pieces 3 spaces. Right? Now, the whole game is you just take turns, and your turn you move one of your pieces, and you try to knock the other guy's pieces off the board.
That literally, you just try to push him off the board. It comes with a little...
You can push him off the back, the front, or the side.
The game
comes
with a little shoddily put together glued piece of wood.
Well, that sort of annoyed me, right? Is that, game production is sort of is important when you're paying a lot of money for a German board game. If you buy a set of Scrabble for $10, do you really care if you get plastic pieces instead of wooden? No, not really. But if you pay, like 20, perhaps, some German board games are like a lot of money, right?
I spend, $75 on stupid Twilight Struggle.
Right. You want high quality production values, right? Or lots of pieces, even if they're lower quality. So, this game, we played a demo unit at the con that the Kineticon people had, and their board was a solid piece of wood. But our board was like 2 pieces of wood glued to each other.
They're not even the same wood grain.
They're not even the same wood, and I feel like the board is going to snap in half, and I'm going to have to make a board, which is not a big deal.
It's trivial to make a board.
But it's still annoying. I paid for this piece of wood, and it feels like it's going to break. And I went to Board Game Geek, and someone else also had, a piece of wood that was glued together and was probably going to break. Well, some people have solid wood, some people have broken wood.
The game is not high production values.
The plastic pieces are nice.
The game, they're okay. They have glue marks on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
But the game itself is pretty complex. The rules are really simple. It's not really fiddly. It's got a simple anti-stalemate mechanism.
I like the anti-stalemate mechanism.
It's a pretty good mechanism, but it is still possible to generate a recursive stalemate.
It is, but it's pretty obvious whoever has the upper hand in such a recursive stalemate. And as we have seen, what you think might be a recursive stalemate might actually not be, because it might go on for a little bit. You'll go to one end of the board, then go back to the other end of the board. But then you'll be in a configuration where suddenly one of the other pieces on the board comes into play and busts it up.
Well,
it's not always true, but it happened a couple times.
My warning to you is to not take advice from Scott on this game. I'm one to trash talk pretty mercilessly, but in this case, it's just funny. We got the game.
I can't stop laughing.
We played it twice at the con, and I won the first game, and Scott won the second game, and it was really cool. So we just bought it, and that was it.
Yep.
We got home after Anime Boston. We're hanging out, and I proceeded to win like 15 in a row.
You won a lot in a row.
And then Scott won one, but then he accused me of letting him win, which was kind of true. And then I won like another whole bunch. And then Scott Johnson came over. I played against him once. He beat me.
But I was giving Scott Johnson advice, which sometimes he accepted and sometimes did not.
So then you're like, wait a minute, I know what to do now. And you play against me.
And I got dominated.
15 more games.
I won one of those, I think.
You did win one.
Yeah, but
Scott just can't play this game.
I don't know what's going on because like when I was helping Scott, when I was watching Scott Johnson play, I like saw what to do and it ended up working because Scott Johnson won. And like what I saw it play out, right? But when I was playing, it's like I was seeing something completely different and I just got hosed.
Well,
so I got to figure out. I gotta do something
The really,
different.
really cool thing about this game is that one, it is almost straight up pattern recognition. Like all you have to do is recognize the patterns,
Yep.
and you'll see immediately where each recursive kind of set of moves will end up at the. And then you don't have to think about that anymore. You just enact the pattern, knowing where it will end, and then push the guy off the edge. What the game really is analogous to, and if you can conceptualize this in your mind, you will win this game almost all the time. There's that old game. I used to play it a ton in like middle school and elementary school, and I taught everyone in the crew how to play it. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like the stick game where you draw like 4 sticks, 3 sticks, and 2 sticks, or 5 sticks, 4 sticks, and 2 sticks. There are different variations, and everyone takes turns picking up a number of sticks, and whoever picks up the last stick loses.
Yep.
It's a really simple game. But
So for example, I'll cross off all 4, then Rim will cross off like 2 of the 3s, then I'll cross off 1 of the 3s, or I'll cross off the 2 at the bottom, and then Rim is left with just the 1 remaining stick in the middle, and then he's done.
Yep, but that is still a game where if you can recognize patterns where like you don't have to get the game into a state where the other person picks up the last stick. You have to get the game into a state to where the only possible option 10 moves later is for him to pick up the last stick.
Yep.
Oshi is exactly like that, and the math behind that is really cool. The board basically alternates between stable and unstable states. I would define stable as there is no possible move that can cause one color to push any piece of another color off the board. And there's an unstable board to where one color or both colors, it doesn't matter which, can push a piece of the other color off the board.
Yep.
And there are degrees of stability. The more pieces that can be pushed off, the more unstable the game is. And all you do is alternate the board between stable and unstable states, iterating through these patterns until someone wins.
Yeah, basically what sort of happens, right, is you start moving your pieces out, right, from the starting positions, and then suddenly someone is in a position where they're going to lose a piece, right? So the beginning choice that you might do is to take that piece that's going to get killed and move it out of the way so now it can't be killed, right? But it's actually, because of the way the game works, really difficult to run away from death because usually it's like a 3-piece threatening a 1-piece, and it's a 1 piece just can't get away. If it's too close to the edge of the board, it's doomed, right? So what you have to do instead is the 1 piece is never going to run away, and if you spend all your actions running away, you're just going to lose a whole bunch of points all over the place. Instead, take one of your pieces and threaten elsewhere. So he's going to kill your 1. So put his 2, instead of moving the 1 out of the way, move your 3 into a position where it's going to kill his 2. So now it's like, all right, waste your turn killing my 1, I'll kill your 2. And it sort of stacks up all over the place. And
well, that's actually very similar to the patterns you see in chess.
Yeah. But it's a little bit different in that
it's much, much simpler. It's trivial to plan 10 or 15 moves in advance, even if you're not an expert at the game. You just win it all the time.
No, but it has a lot fewer pieces, a lot, simpler patterns, a lot smaller board, all sorts of things. You'll be in a position where there's a lot. It's obvious, what all the options are. You don't need to kill any specific piece. You just need to kill 7 points worth.
Yep. Also, the way to win against unskilled players, if you guys pick this game up and you want to play it against a friend, is think about the stable unstable mechanic I talked about. And just constantly put the game into as unstable a position as possible. Just push the stability crazily off balance, and the other person will get confounded, and then you'll just win.
Yeah, you always, if you're not on the offensive, putting his guys in a position where they're going to get killed constantly, then as soon as you're on the run, where a lot more of your guys are in a position to die than his guys are in a position to die, you're pretty much done. It's very difficult to run away unless you have a really clever setup where with a 1 move you can turn the tables.
Now, of course, the only significant drawback to the game is that like all small, perfect information games,
eventually you figure it out.
The game is eminently solvable, and I think mathematically, I don't think it would be that difficult to mathematically solve it, and then we'd be done.
I mean, they've solved checkers. You could easily write a computer program.
No, checkers is a little bit because pieces all have. There are only two possible kinds of pieces, and the kinds of moves are simple. And also, checkers has compelled moves.
No, that's true. Compelled moves.
There are no compelled moves here.
Yeah, but even so, I think it would be not very difficult to, make a computer program that would know the optimal move for any possible board configuration.
Yep, I would wager. I feel like because there's so many opportunities for stalemate, that the end game is perfect stalemate.
Yeah, the stalemate, rules sort of basically the stalemate rule, I don't think we said what it was, is it's not that, if there's a stalemate, blah. It's if you move if a piece was in, let's say a piece was at position.
Oh, it's simple. You cannot move one of your pieces to a position that it resided on the beginning of your previous turn.
Right. So if my 2-piece was 2 pieces up from right, and then it got moved 2 pieces down, I can't just move it 2 spaces back up to where it used to be. I have to move it somewhere else.
This, however, is a very elegant rule because it very succinctly prevents almost all of the possible stalemates and problems because you can push a piece. Like, I can take a second piece and push the first piece to where it was before. I can do all sorts of interesting things with my other pieces or with that piece. It prevents the very specific scenario of, I push you back 3 spaces. You can't push me back 3 spaces. And furthermore, it gives the offender the advantage.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it though, right? I push you 3, so you can only push me back 2, right?
So, exactly.
But then, right? Then I can't push you back, then I can push 3, but you see how it goes?
Well, yes, but it always gives the offense the advantage because it'll always put the defender, if you let someone else push you 3, you will always have to be reacting or avoiding. And you can play games of, well, I'll push 2, but then you're going to be pushed back even further. And other than having other pieces to leverage or running away, you will always be an advantage if you attack fully. The game's really fun, and I highly recommend it to just about anyone. It's a good addition to your household. It's
also a rare, good 2-player game that doesn't take very long and is not, just rock, paper, scissors or, chess. Well, it is chess, but it doesn't take as long as chess.
Not right away, because chess is just rock, paper, scissors.
That's also true, but, you see the point.
Let's iterate it, rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
However, because the game is out of print, if you can't find it, just make it. It's trivial to make. 1, 2,
that's
3,
true. This
4, 5, 6, 7. It's a 9x9 grid, and you need 2 3-pieces, 2 2-pieces, and 4 1-pieces for each side. That's it.
And then get the rules at boardgamegeek.com.
That's it. You're done.
Yeah, you can make this game. So, try to buy it, though. I guess if you're lucky enough to get the solid piece of wood, that's nice. Hey, maybe we should make a copy of this game.
Maybe we should.
Because, I can go buy a piece of wood, polish it up.
I'll get some ox blood.
Take a wood burner, burn a wood grid onto it, right? Then get all sorts of nice stain, make it a nice color.
You gotta have the ox blood, or it's not authentic.
You can really just use a Go board, right? You don't even really need to make
Well, yeah, you could play. You gotta get little pieces to fit in the squares of the Go board.
I think it might be interesting to see if you could, you could extend the life of this game by putting the pieces in different configurations or having bigger boards with more pieces, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the problem with bigger boards is that a game like this, you would have to have more stalemate rules, or you'll have just long stalemates that might not even be obvious.
Yeah, it'll be the same game, just bigger.
Because the game is just pattern recognition. How many times, Scott, did we play where we do the 4 opening moves, and we're in the exact same position we were in for the last 8 games?
Yep, exactly. And it took me it was like, wait, if I go first and I do this, does it turn out like that, or does it turn out like the other way?
But no, it turned out the same way.
I have to do the other move when I go first to make it turn out the different way.
All right, let's play some Oshi and then go to bed. I think we're done here. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via audio Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.